My mom defended my sister, who was stealing money from me and wanted to send me to a military school. This happened when I was 14 years old, about a year before my parents' divorce. My younger sister always quickly spent money on food in shopping malls, video games, and clothes from Hot Topic. Although my parents gave me pocket money, my father made me earn it by doing house chores and working in the yard. My sister, on the other hand, didn't do anything unless our dad stood next to her. Mom didn't force her to do anything either, except clean her room. To earn extra money, I mowed neighbors' lawns, collected scattered cans around the neighborhood to turn them in for 5 cents each, and did other small jobs. At that time, I was saving up for a scooter to get around the city. Over 2 years, by doing random jobs and saving most of my pocket money, I managed to save about $2,000. But collecting this money was not easy, mostly because of my sister. She knew all my hiding spots for money, and would steal from them. Here's how it often went. Me. Hey, sister, did you take my money again? Sister. What? No. Lying through her teeth. When caught, she would say. Me. You're a terrible liar. I'm missing $100 from my savings. Sister. Leave me alone. I didn't take it. Starts crying obnoxiously and runs to Mom. Sister. Mom! He's bothering me. Me. She stole my money again. Mom, snapping her fingers at me. Shut up! Can't you see my little girl is upset? She said she didn't take it, so she didn't. End of story. If you don't stop, I'll punish you. Me. I know she did it. If you don't give the money back, I'll tell Dad. Mom. That's not necessary. Besides, you don't have proof she took it. Me. I do. I keep track of every dollar. 3 days ago, I had $4,000. Now, it's $3,900. I'm missing $100, and you know she's stolen from me before. Plus, I know she's out of pocket money this month, and yesterday you took her shopping. Where did she get the money from? Mom hesitated for a moment, then frowned. Mom, you know what? You're grounded. Go to your room, or I'll get the belt. I could have argued further, but if I learned anything in this house, it was knowing when to stop talking and just call Dad. I went to my room, slammed the door shut, and grabbed my Nokia to call my father at work. He didn't answer, so I left a voicemail explaining everything. About an hour later, he called back and said he'd handle it. Soon after, I heard the house phone ringing and my mom shouting. I couldn't catch everything, but I heard her trying to justify herself. However, that never worked when she was in the wrong. Eventually, I heard her yell something like, "Fine! If she really took the money, you'll get it back, but she already spent it." Mom then stormed into my room, furious. Mom, I can't believe you snitched on me, you ungrateful little asshole. After everything I've done for you, you couldn't let this slide for a small amount? Me. So you admit she stole the money? Mom, with a sneer. Yeah, I don't care. Girls need more money than boys. You should have just given it to her. It's not that much. Me. She stole $100. Even if it was just $1, I'd still want it back. You wouldn't want someone stealing from your purse, would you? It's no different. If she's stealing from me, she's in the wrong and you know it. I want my money back, no matter what. I earned it through hard work, and she did nothing. Mom, my baby doesn't have to do anything. She's a princess and deserves to be treated as one. Me, that's not my problem. Let her be a princess away from me and my stuff. Mom, you little devil. I'll beat your ass. I stood up and looked her in the eyes since, at 14, I was already her height and fairly strong from working outside. Me. Try it. I won't let you because I didn't do anything wrong. Mom froze for a moment, then growled loudly, swung her arm to knock something off my dresser, but hit the dresser itself instead. I could tell it hurt. She grabbed her hand, trying to hide the pain, glared at me, then stormed out, shouting and slamming walls on her way downstairs. I heard her head to the kitchen to do what she always did when things didn't go her way, go to the wine fridge and start drinking. My sister peeked out of her room, looking scared, then quickly slammed her door shut. Mom was her shield from punishment for everything she did to me, but that changed quickly. A few minutes later, Dad came home from work and brought my sister to my room. He made her confess to stealing the money and told me I wasn't grounded. She refused to even look at me while apologizing, mumbling in the quietest voice. Dad had to tell her several times to speak up before she practically yelled her apology. Afterward, Dad gave me $100 to cover what was stolen and said my sister was grounded for a week. The stolen money would be deducted from her allowance, which made her burst into tears and yell at Dad before running back to her room. Mom sat in the backyard, humming with her favorite wine in hand, ignoring all of us. She never apologized to me and acted as if nothing had happened. As upsetting as that was, my sister still got her allowance the next time, but this time it came from Mom instead of Dad. A few days later, on Dad's day off, we went to a local store, and he bought me a safe for storing money and other valuables. We didn't tell Mom or my sister about it. The safe had a 4-digit code, and if I remember correctly, I used the code 4962. I put all my money into the safe, locked it, and hid it in the back of my closet. Weeks went by. One day, I came home after mowing the neighbors' lawns and found my room completely trashed. I called Mom to tell her what my sister had done, but, as always, she denied it. Mom, my baby didn't do it. Me, then you must have done it. Mom, no. Me, well, who else could have? The room was clean when I left, and no one else was here except you two. Mom, clearly annoyed by the logic cornering her, finally said, Mom, fine. But if she did it, it's because you've been mean to her. I called Dad again and left a voicemail explaining what had happened. Then I went to my sister's room and told her I knew she had trashed my room. Before she could reply, I added that she'd never be able to get to my money because it was locked in a safe. This sent her into a full-blown tantrum. Naturally, Mom came rushing in like an angry bear, but I just repeated that my sister wouldn't be able to take my money anymore. I went back to my room to clean up while my sister continued screaming in hers for 20 minutes. Nothing was stolen or broken, just scattered everywhere, so I cleaned up. But the next day, I found my room trashed again, and this time, the window was broken. My sister had thrown the safe out of the window because she couldn't open it. I immediately called Dad. When Mom and Dad got home from work, my sister proudly confessed to what she'd done. Mom actually tried to take her side, saying, "You shouldn't have bought that safe in the first place." But Dad scolded her and said he had bought the safe for me because he was tired of my sister stealing my money. Every time she stole and spent my money, Dad had to reimburse me because Mom never did. My parents had to replace the window in my room. Dad installed a lock on my bedroom door and even mounted a wall safe near the door to store the key with a combination code. My sister was grounded for a month for breaking the window. While Dad was home, she stayed in her room the entire time. However, when Dad was at work, Mom let her do whatever she wanted, like playing video games or watching TV. I didn't tell Dad about this because I knew that if I did, Mom and my sister would make my life even worse. After her punishment ended, my sister started begging me for loans whenever she spent all her allowance. I just told her she'd never repay me because she didn't earn or save anything. For fun, I even wrote an IOU and asked if she'd sign it in front of Dad. She ripped it in half and ran to Mom to complain that I was being unfair. Mom and my sister tried to pressure me into giving her money, but I reminded them that Dad could give her some if she wanted. She wasn't getting any from me. After that, Mom tried to send me to military school, but Dad didn't let her. For anyone wondering why Dad didn't help me open a savings account, I honestly don't know. I guess keeping cash was just our usual way of doing things. Update: Mom slammed into my door shortly after Dad gave me the safe. He had also installed the door lock and wall combination safe while Mom and my sister were out of the house. The first time my sister walked past my room that day, I saw her glance at the lock and then immediately run to get Mom. They both rushed upstairs, but Dad and I were waiting for them. Mom, snapping her fingers and pointing. "What's that thing?" Dad: "It's a lock for the door." Mom: "I know it's a fucking lock. But why is it there?" Dad: "Because you never punish or stop her from stealing or trashing someone else's room. So now there's a lock." Mom: "He's only 14, and this is my house. He can't have a lock on his door." Dad: "No, it's our house. As far as I remember, I've been paying most of the mortgage and bills. You barely pay anything, and I'm tired of you enabling her while our son keeps suffering." Mom: "Well, then I demand to have the code to that lock." Dad, with a stone-cold face: "I'm not giving it to you because you've shown you can't be trusted." At that, Mom exploded and stormed downstairs, slamming doors on her way. My sister stood there, looking offended, then slowly walked back to her room. Now, I have a lock. Everything became much better once I got into the habit of locking my door every time I left my room. I often noticed Mom and my sister watching closely as I entered the code for my safe, but I always covered the keypad with my hand or body. They didn't like it, but there was nothing they could do. One day, near the end of the month, my sister came to me, begging for $40 to buy a video game she really wanted. Me: "Why do you keep coming to me for money when we both know you'll never pay it back?" Sister: "I will this time, I swear." Me: "No, you won't. Every month, you spend all your allowance and more. You always choose to spend rather than pay back what you owe." Sister: "That's not true." I decided to test her. I went to my room, grabbed a piece of paper and a pen, and wrote up a loan agreement by hand. It stated that she would repay me $40 as soon as she got her next allowance, and it had to be signed in Dad's presence as a witness. She read the paper, started sniffling, then tore it in half and ran crying to Mom, as she always did when things didn't go her way. Sister crying: "Mom, do you know what he did again?" Mom: "What now?" Me: "She wanted to borrow money, and I asked her to sign an agreement in front of Dad. She got mad and tore it up." Mom: "Why do you need that? She just wanted to borrow a little money." Me: "Would you sign a loan agreement if I asked you to, just so I'd be sure she'll pay it back?" Mom: "You little fool. I'm not signing anything. Just lend her the money." Me: "Only with a signed agreement." Mom stood up, raised her hand, as if to hit me, but thought better of it. Mom: "You're just like your father. You have to document everything. I hate it." Me: "Good thing I'm like Dad, then. That's a lot better than being like you or my sister because neither of you does anything good." Mom: "What did you just say, you little dumb boy?" She started storming up the stairs just as I reached my room and locked the door. Mom had a habit of throwing my door open to yell at me, ripping the lock off its hinges in one swift motion. But the new lock was sturdier, and she hadn't gotten used to it yet. I locked the bolt, and she tried to force the door open, but slammed into it with a loud thud. I then heard her fall to the floor and scream in pain. She had hit the door with her body and face. The door, made of solid wood, left her with a swollen lip and a bruise on her forehead. I opened the door to see her lying on the floor, pounding her fists. Mom, you set me up, you little asshole. Me, you ran into the door yourself. Mom, you're grounded. Get out of my sight. I called Dad again and told him what happened. He sighed deeply and said I wasn't grounded, but I would have a serious talk for provoking her. He told me to let him handle Mom when he got home. When Dad came back, I got a stern lecture, extra chores, and a reduced allowance for the month. But that was the end of it. From that day on, every time my sister asked me for money, I insisted on a signed agreement, which she absolutely hated. Update 2. Mom tried to send me to military school and even forged Dad's signature. This backfired badly. After the last time I stood up to her when she threatened to spank me, she seemed to realize that actually hitting me could end very badly for her. Instead, she mostly resorted to yelling and didn't touch me, at least until years later when she tried to take my house. I ignored her tantrums and focused on my usual routine of school and odd jobs. My 15th birthday was approaching, and Dad gave me an engine kit for my bike so I could get around the city. He advised me to start saving for a car instead of a scooter. His logic made sense, so I agreed and continued saving. A few days later, while cleaning up grass clippings in the backyard after mowing, I found a brochure for a military school under the table near Mom's favorite spot for drinking wine. I had a sinking feeling she was planning some crazy scheme. So, I waited for Dad to come home and showed him the brochure. He was furious but didn't jump to conclusions. Instead, he went to Mom with the brochure to ask about it. Dad, honey, what's this? Mom, I don't know. I've never seen it before. Dad, really? Because it says here you were planning to send my name. Sorry, I don't want to reveal my name. To military school. You know I wouldn't allow that. At that moment, Mom stopped pretending and yelled. Mom, he needs to learn discipline. He keeps locking his door, and I can't spank him anymore because he's too big. This is the only way to punish that disobedient brat. Dad, my name hasn't done anything wrong. If anything, our daughter is the real troublemaker because of you letting her steal from her brother. He continued. Dad, the discussion about sending my name to military school is over. If you try to go through with it, I swear there will be serious consequences. Mom, dramatically, well, it seems like this whole family is trying to take away the last bit of control I have in this house. If I have nothing left, then there's no point in living anymore. Dad, stop being so dramatic. My name is growing up and becoming independent. He earns his own money. After that, Mom stormed out of the room. The next morning, before school, I saw her angrily trying to shove something into the kitchen trash can. I waited for her to leave for work and pulled out what she had tried to hide. It was a completed application to the military school, entirely written in her handwriting. The application required signatures from both parents or guardians. While I recognized Mom's signature, the second one was a pathetic attempt at forging Dad's. Dad was proud of his complex signature, and Mom had no chance of replicating it without it being obvious she was faking it. She must have realized this after being caught and gave up on the idea of sending me away. I kept the papers and showed them to Dad later. He was angry but decided to let it go, thinking Mom had abandoned the idea. However, he kept the documents in his office just in case. A few months later, it came to light that Mom had been cheating on Dad with her high school boyfriend. For Dad, this was the last straw, and he filed for divorce. A few months later, I moved in with him after he bought a new house. The divorce process sped up when Dad presented the military school documents with Mom's forged signature. This wasn't the first time she had done something like this. He also had proof that she had forged his signature on at least one credit card application and another document, though I don't remember the details. Mom got the house because Dad didn't want it, but she also demanded alimony and child support since, unsurprisingly, my sister decided to stay with her. The court awarded her minimal alimony and child support payments for 10 years. In practice, the payments only covered my sister's allowance. Mom was furious about this and threatened to take Dad back to court, but he held the threat of exposing her forged signatures over her head, keeping her in check. On the day I moved into Dad's new house, my sister stuck out her tongue and smugly declared, "Mom says I'm the princess and the better child. That's why you're leaving." I just shook my head and said, "I don't care what you think anymore." Then I walked out the door, finally feeling free as a bird. My relationship with my sister worsened every time she visited Dad once a week, and eventually we stopped speaking altogether. I didn't visit Mom often. She had turned my old room into a home office. If you've read this far, thank you. Let me know your thoughts on this story. Personally, I'm grateful that at least one person, my dad, was on my side. It's rare in stories like this where the family supports one, golden child, and leaves the rest to fend for themselves. I'm glad that wasn't the case here. Share your thoughts in the comments, and feel free to tell your own stories. It'll be interesting to read. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means a lot to me. Take care.